Okay, I do apologize. I actually did close my browser before, and so now when I open the links again, it has to reload, and sometimes the page is under maintenance or whatever. Fortunately, I was able to find this using the Wayback Machine on Google, and this is the article so that Nick Schroeder posted, and this is important because it's posted in Principia Scientific International. And I know that, again, a lot of people who just kind of look at the headlines these days, going to look at that and wow, it's impressive. It's in a scientific publication. Hold my beer. We're going to talk about Principia Scientific very soon. This article that was posted in 2018, debunking the greenhouse gas theory with a boiling water pot. Right away, I know that this is not impressive. It's not impressive at all. Whatever this guy is going to demonstrate here is not going to be impressive. Um, so yeah, look, again, I will link all of that because I don't want to hide anything. Okay, so you have all the links in the description. Please check it out. Increasing greenhouse gas levels are enhancing the greenhouse effect and causing global warming. He says, wrong. Well, yeah, he's actually wrong, as I pointed out already so far. So again, he posts that calculation, and you're free to explore it, but I'm sure that it's bullshit. Like maybe not all of it is bullshit, but the conclusion is bullshit, and that's the key point. There's a photo here of his magnificent experiment. I mean, come on. Okay, look, this is a guy who basically uses a kettle in his garage, and that's supposed to somehow debunk greenhouse gas theory. I'm extremely skeptical about that. So again, you can go to it, you can read his conclusion, but I'm sure this is not interesting whatsoever. And there are people actually who come into his comments, and they point out flaws. In fact, this one person says, even by your standards, this is one of your most ridiculous postings yet. He talks about emissivity. We're going to talk about that in a second as well. Like most technical terms, has a very specific definition. The the greenhouse gas theory believer you cite understands this. You obviously do not. Whatever you are using here is most certainly not emissivity, since you made up an entirely new concept. It needs an entirely new name. Let's call it Kwaijibo. Google it. So again, even on his own thread, on his own post in this website, people coming and they point out, yeah, it's bullshit. So that should kind of raise red flags. He responds to that, and there's a back and forth here. So yeah, I'm gonna talk more about that in a second. So again, if you want to read more about that, look, this link is in the description. So please go and read it for yourself. I'm not gonna do that myself right now. So my first question is, which is going back here, this Principia Scientific International. Again, instead of being surprised and impressed by it, you shouldn't be impressed. Go and check out what it is. So you go to Google and you ask the question, is Principia Scientific International legit? Or is it fake? Is it a hoax website? It's going to give you a bunch of things here. And so one of them, media bias fact check. Principia Scientific International, PSI. So conspiracy level, strong. Pseudoscientific level, strong. Factual reporting, low. So overall, we rate PSI a strong conspiracy and pseudoscience website promoting anti-vaccine propaganda, which they do. That's true. I've seen that too. And frequent misinformation regarding climate change. Detailed report, bias rating is towards the right, okay? So like towards like the Fox News, etc. Factual reporting low. Country United Kingdom, not US. But I believe some of the people who are posting on it are from the US, though, which is not really amazing. Press freedom rating, mostly free. That's good, but that doesn't really mean anything in itself. Media type, it's a website. Traffic, popularity, minimal traffic. So yeah, it's not popular. MBFC, I'm not sure what that is, but it's some kind of credibility rating system, and it's low credibility. Again, it has a detailed report here, which you can read. But basically, I'm just going to read a few parts here. And Principia Scientific covers many science areas. However, most stories center around climate change, global warming, and vaccinations. When it comes to climate change, PSI disagrees. So that hoax website, they disagree that CO2 is the primary driver of global warming. However, according to the IPCC fifth assessment report, which I'm not sure is even the latest one, there might be a new one since, a group of 1,300 independent scientific experts from countries all over the world concluded there's a better than 95% probability that human produced greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide have caused much of the observed increase in the Earth's atmosphere temperatures, I should say, over the past 50 years. Increase of Earth's atmosphere doesn't make any sense anyway, but temperatures, yes. So again, you can go through that. And there is, they fact checked certain articles from that website. And these are some of the failed fact checks. For example, doctors discover cancer enzyme in vaccines, all found murdered. Verdict: pants on fire. Solar minimum expected cool the upper atmosphere. False. We are not heading towards a mini ice age, contrary to claims in some media. False. I'm not sure exactly what this one is. I'd have to read that, but I think it's not. You have to be careful how you read that because it's kind of a headline, and yeah. FDA study did not find that vaccines contain cancer causing viruses. Inaccurate. Volcanic CO2 emissions are known to be much smaller than human caused emissions. Inaccurate. I know that for sure is inaccurate because it depends on the volcanic eruption. If it's a major one, like a really major one, the particles can go into the atmosphere and kind of block the sun heat for a while. And that can, well, that's catastrophic really, but it happens really rarely on a global scale, I mean. But volcanic eruptions are always ongoing, really. There's volcanic eruptions all the time. Father of global warming scientist finally admits theory is wrong, inaccurate. Now, I know that one is inaccurate for sure. This is absolutely not how they portray it. Merck scraps vaccine, says better to catch COVID and virus and recover. False. Most extreme weather phenomena have not become more extreme, more deadly, or more destructive. False. It is getting worse. Okay, that's for sure. Dr. Fauci has said that COVID-19 vaccines don't protect against COVID or death. False. That's absolutely blatantly untrue. 89% of new UK COVID cases among fully vaxxed. False. New Zealand scientists find nanotech in Pfizer's Comirnaty vaccine. False. So, okay, now we know clearly that the PSI, or what's the full name of it again? Principia Scientific International, is full of shit. Okay, it's full of shit. Like all you have to do is do a bit of research, and you'll know. So, knowledge is power. There's another one here. So this DSMOG website, Principia Scientific International, gives a background. So it's based in the UK. We know that. Already read that. formed in 2010, and they are obsessed about debunking the greenhouse gas theory. They claim that they have like many members who have a reliable uh, portfolio, I guess, of call to ascertain the facts behind the news stories to better judge whether information being presented by third parties is accurate information and reflects a balanced view of all facets of the subject. The PSI website says the organization is for everyone who supports the traditions of scientific method against the rise of the sinister and secretive government funded post normal science, whatever that means. And so stands on climate change. PSI regularly publishes commentary which claims that carbon dioxide is not a greenhouse gas and that it could actually cool the planet. Sorry, I'm going to have a drink here because my throat is getting really dry from reading all of this. Okay, that's a bit better. For example, in one of the articles in November 2013, PSI staff wrote, scientists at PSI who peer-reviewed Nal's paper are currently advising colleagues that the most reliable data available now confirms that CO2 is shown to act as a coolant in the Earth's atmosphere. As such, the notion of so-called greenhouse gas warming effect may be regarded as refuted, while environmental measures by government and individuals to reduce carbon emissions to combat climate change are in turn rendered pointless. Oh man, this is such bullshit. They actually have a list here of the key people. And so again, you can, go and check them out here. Really in depth. Like this is a lot of people. The only thing you'll notice here from this list, I mean, I may have missed it, but I did do a find option. I didn't find him, but Nick Schroeder is not part of this list. Okay, so he's not even like some kind of key member of it or whatsoever. So again, in the description, you can check it out. It's all there. There's a climate feedback, which is a pretty good website. Again, they analyzed a few of the Principia Scientific claims as well. So one of them is 90% of world's glaciers are growing. That's inaccurate. I really doubt that claim. We know that they're melting. I know that in some, yeah, I know that in some isolated areas somewhere there is a bit of growth. That is true, but it's really isolated areas. If you look at it again, zoomed in, it goes back to this idea. Like if you're zoomed in somewhere, yeah, you might see some kind of growth. But if you zoom out, if you look at the big picture, and that's the only picture you should really look at, the macro picture, you'll notice that yeah, it's melting, it's accelerating. There is black residue on top of the ice, and as you know, black absorbs heat much more. So that means that the heating is accelerated. All of that is true. So yeah, that's inaccurate. Next one. Discovery of massive volcanic CO2 emissions discredits global warming theory. Inaccurate. I don't even know what they're talking about. Because again, like I said, volcanic eruptions happen all the time. They do. But it's kind of steady usually. Like yeah, there's fluctuations here and there, but again, if you're talking about these kind of super volcano eruptions, I think the last one that happened was probably 100 years ago. I know that there's one that happened in Tonga not too long ago, and that one like looked impressive, but was was not like it's kind of hard to explain, but yeah, not really. So again, inaccurate. Father, that one is what they mentioned before. Father of global warming scientists finally admits theory is wrong. Inaccurate. Yeah. Just 1 second. Kiba. Noisy. It's empty. It's empty. It's done. Oh. Okay, next I just want to talk about this website. It's actually like ResearchGate. I think it's a website where, things are combined related to science, like scientific papers, etc. It might be like Google Scholar, but don't quote me on that because I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, you have this guy here, James Matkin, right? So Pathways Partnership, I guess that's his company, and his credential is Master of Laws, whatever that means. And again, we have to take that with a grain of salt because, like on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever, I can also write whatever I want. I can write that I'm the master of the universe. Doesn't actually mean that I'm the master of the universe, though. That's the thing. So, master of law, though, even if he is some kind of graduate of law, I'm sorry, but law is not climate science whatsoever. Not even like it's not even like remotely close. But anyway, there we go. Principia Scientific International. So this guy worked for them as well, I guess. And he wrote this article. And in this article, so again, he's pushing bullshit, climate change denier bullet points. That's he's basically saying that carbon dioxide, CO2, is not a pollutant. And just forget CO2. CO2 is great because it's plant food and we can all go home. It's all settled now. We don't have to worry about CO2 whatsoever. This is such bullshit that I don't even have to comment really too much here. The thing is like, yeah, you can talk about, you know, CO2 being plant food. That's all great and stuff, but it also makes oceans more acidic. It makes the atmosphere dirtier because it's particles that later go into our lungs, etc. It's in the air that we breathe, etc. So yeah, it is definitely there. One example that I always like to give people is very easy. It's like you can go and run your car in your garage. Make sure you lock all the doors, etc. And see how long you can survive. There was a there was a part of that actually shown in the House of Cards TV show. That's well, I don't want to spoil the show too much, but there is actually a part of the show where this exact scene is played out, and yeah, it doesn't end well. I just want to warn you, don't try that at home.